Okay, ready for Batman Ninja?
No.
Yep. No. No.
Well, sorry, but we're talking about it. In this movie, Gorilla Grodd builds a time machine, but his invention malfunctions, sending Batman and his many Gotham villains to period Japan. Bruce must team up with Catwoman, his sidekicks, and a ninja clan to stop his rogues gallery from taking over Japan. So Sora, you're the first to say no to this. So why don't you like this film?
I didn't realise when he gave us a list that like this was that like weird anime JoJo-esque Batman movie that was on Netflix. So when I looked it up, I was like, oh, it's this one. I was actually like wanting to watch this like a few months ago when it like came out, because it just looked really interesting and like different, and I like the art style, like what was shown in the trailer. But like actually like watching it, like I didn't particularly actually enjoy the art style as much as I thought that I would. And like the story was really confusing at the start. Like I don't know what on earth was going on, and then suddenly Japan.
I think like that sums up the whole thing. Suddenly Japan.
Yeah. Like
it could have been the tagline.
and then obviously when they're in Japan, like the art there is really lovely. Like the background, and I especially love how the sky looks when it's just like plain daytime. And I couldn't follow, like I followed along like as much as anyone could, I think, but some parts were really confusing and I didn't really get what was going on or what was happening. But I don't understand why I mean it's just Gundam and a bunch of like anime kind of references, and like the voice acting didn't like, I watched it in English and the voice acting did not match whatsoever. So like I mean that kind of added to it for me, like the whole like 90s anime where like none of the voice acting would match ever, and it kind of like made me feel nostalgic a little bit.
I kind of wish I watched this film in its original Japanese, if I'm honest.
Yeah, same.
Because I know what you mean, and it's a good. To be fair, it's a good cast, but the mouths don't really match.
Don't you know how bad razor-edged fighting fans are for the environment?
You're the one who keeps throwing them.
Because you won't let them hit you.
I'm assuming everybody was speaking English, and the people that were in Japan would be speaking Japanese, but there was a moment where the Walla people were speaking in English, which I thought was weird. Like, they should have had Japanese Walla for that. Like, why dub over the Walla? They're literally supposed to be Japanese, so just leave in the Japanese Walla then. I thought that kind of was sloppy and not good.
We are the Bat Clan of Hida. Our lives are guided by an ancient prophecy.
I noticed for the voice cast, they pretty much just mashed together like the usual cast of people they get for Batman and then like the usual cast of people they get for dubbing anime, which I guess fits with the flavor of the movie. I don't really like either of those casts very much, so I didn't enjoy the voice acting. But I understand why they did that. I can't imagine they did any like actual casting. They probably just pulled up their email list of the same people they use for freaking everything, and then they're just like, hey, got another thing for you. Don't even have to audition. I thought the movie was fun to look at. I feel like the characters look better when they're not moving, so you don't notice the 3D as much.
It's kind of nauseating, and I feel like it's the kind of style that makes it feel like it's a long cutscene in a video game. I kept feeling like I was watching a cutscene in a video game.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say it looks boring. It definitely looks interesting, and it's very dynamic. It's just a bit much to watch.
I feel like it was the experience of seeing like a cool fan art poster where they do like a lot of different Japan-inspired designs for like the Batmobile and the armor and stuff. It's like that it's like the experience of looking at that poster, but like for an hour and a half or however long it is.
It is a bit, when you think about it, it is a little fanficky in a way.
Yes, there's like a AU fan fiction.
I don't know how much it has to do with like Batman stuff, but I do appreciate how much like Japan flavor reference things they crammed into it. Like they have the monkeys, they have hot springs, they have like fetch quests, they have like power of friendship, coming together, robots cramming together,
giant mech.
Yeah.
like showing up in a village and then being attacked because you're on a wanted poster kind of deal.
Yeah, I do agree it's awesome how anime this film is, but at the same time, the movie's overindulgence in old-school anime style, tropes, and pacing is kind of a detriment. And I would say that this is more of an anime film than a Batman film. And to be fair, that's because it's a Japanese production, and I feel like they were given a lot of freedom. One of its biggest problems is that it's very rushed and throws you right into the past. It's like, hey, monkey make time machine, and bam bam, Batman in feudal Japan. just drop you into the deep end. I feel like the action takes a much bigger focus than Batman's internal struggles.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the drawing points for a lot of Batman fans is like going into his psyche. With this one, it was just like Bruce's struggle to adapt to the times. He's like, one moment he's like, I've lost everything. I can't do this. Then one of Robin's just like, yeah, you can, mate. And then he's like, yes, I can. it just carries on. Don't get me wrong, it is a fun love letter to Japanese anime and culture, but it does get overexcited with itself and doesn't seem that interested in Batman lore.
It just kept on getting like more and more and more. Like as soon as I thought like, oh, this must be the climax of the movie, there was another one, and then another one, and then another one.
You know what it made me think? It made me think that like every time someone asked the director, hey, do you want this? Do you want that? Every time he just said yes.
Cause see, like when Batman first appears in Japan, and then Joker and Harley, like they make the big house robot. I was like, this is like final boss level stuff, and they're throwing it at you like right at the start. So I was like, right, how can they go up from here? But they do, and then they do it again.
The bit where I was like, okay, movie, you've lost me, is where it was like, okay, we're gonna summon all these monkeys, and the monkeys are gonna turn to a giant power Zord, and then they're gonna summon all these bats, and the bats are gonna turn to a giant Batman. I'm like, did a child write this? And I mean that as a compliment. It feels like it really does make you feel like it feels like you said, nostalgic. There's something kind of childlike about it that I find kind of charming in a way.
Yeah, I think it was a fun watch. I think it's worthwhile just because of the aesthetic and the character designs, because you are treated to new ones throughout the movie, so there's actually content there, which is nice. You have to just watch it and realize that the point of the story is to cram in as many anime things as possible. It's not really like a story to develop Batman or like have a mystery or anything. It's literally just how many anime things can we cram in here.
Unite and serve the sixth heavenly deity, Lord Joker!
Go into it with some popcorn, maybe some beer. You'll have a fun time.
It kind of feels like an anime that like nobody had any faith in, so they were like, oh, how do we get people interested? Oh, I know, let's just throw Batman in there and see what happens.